I do not need. Adam Sky.
Oh. Yeah.
You got checking your battery tech?
We're ready.
You ready to go, Dan?
Yes, sir.
Renee?
Absolutely.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Sarpy County Board of Equalization meeting. It's Tuesday, November 23rd at 3 p.m. Nebraska Open Meeting Act rules are on the north wall of the boardroom. In attendance today, we have all 5 commissioners, Burmeister, Klug, Warren, Mixon, and Kelly, our county administrator, Dan Hoynes, our deputy county clerk and register of deeds, Renee Landsman, our deputy county treasurer, Dan Telekas. If you would, please silence your cell phone and cell phones and stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
One item on the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Warren, I think a second by Burmeister. Discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none.
Okay, all agenda items have been addressed as published, and the Board of Equalization is adjourned. We'll move right into the Board of Commissioners next.
Good.
Okay, welcome to the board meeting today. It's the 23rd of November at 3:02. Nebraska Opens Meeting Act rules are on the north wall. All 5 commissioners, our county administrator, and our deputy county clerk and register of deeds are present. Commissioners' comments. Commissioner Burmeister.
Just happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Same.
Same?
It's a big day today. I got to bring this up. The Class A finals are this evening, actually. And Gretna, after probably less than 5 years as a Class A team, is lining up against West Side. So, go Dragons.
So who do you think's going to win?
Go Dragons.
You going to the game?
7 o'clock at night.
It's on
I know.
TV. It's on TV.
Yeah, I probably won't even make the second half.
Just gauging your support for the Dragons.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I actually attended that school. So.
Gary?
Happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and go Dragons.
There you go. My only comment, I got to drive around western Sarpy County yesterday with Commissioner Warren, looking at the Connect Sarpy project from all angles. It's amazing how much stuff is going on out there, and the amount of construction and concrete going down. It's really encouraging in a way, and in another way, but we still got a lot of work to do. So, if you haven't had a chance to go out there and do a windshield tour, I highly recommend it. It's very impressive. So, kudos to everybody involved in that project. Dan?
As a grandparent of West Side School students, I have no comments.
Okay.
Well, this is extremely hard for me. My college roommate played for Westside, and I've got friends that are there, but they aren't that good of friends.
Well, I mean, I know we're talking about high school sports, but I think it's think about it for just a second. I mean, it wasn't too many years ago where there was a sign that said, Gretna, population 375.
I remember that sign.
And now they're playing at the highest level of, based on school size in the state of Nebraska. And they're going to be cutting the ribbon on a second high school, within the next year. So,
Will they remain Class A, Jim? If
No, there'll be 2 Bs.
Well, that was going to be my comment, too, that there's some schools out there that like to stay Class B.
well, they will grow into Class A
Yeah.
quickly, just like the Elkhorn schools did.
those
So
500 homes we approved the other day, they won't be there for long.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a pretty good indication of the growth that's occurring and how fast it's coming. So good luck to those kids tonight. Okay, 7 items on the consent agenda. Would any of the commissioners want to see those moved? If not, take a recommendation to approve as published.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion by Warren, second by Commissioner Klug. Discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
Okay, 2 items on the regular agenda. The first one's a public hearing and resolution 409 for a proposal for new district boundaries for Sarpy County Commissioner Districts, Dan Hoynes, County Administrator.
I would defer to comments to Michael, if he's here from MAPPA. Michael, if you would like to address the process and how we got here.
So I'm Mike Helgerson, Executive Director of MAPPA, and we assisted the county with the redistricting process here this year. And so thank you for that opportunity. You were one of 13 contracts that we had to do redistricting. And as you can imagine, with the short timeline based on the census update, it was a bit of a push. But thanks to Commissioner Warren and the Redistricting Committee for being really responsive and working with us. And so we're fortunate to have worked through it this quickly. So the redistricting process, I can give you a little bit of background about how we approached it, and then ultimately the recommendation from the Redistricting Committee that you'll find here on the agenda today. First, we took the boundaries from the 2011 boundary update into GIS. We looked at the new census data that came from the 2020 census and really did an estimate of how far out of compliance the new districts were based on the population growth. So essentially that's kind of a check to make sure that the boundaries actually needed to change. And with the population growth in Sarpy County, we did note that there were several districts that were well above the population threshold set by the Secretary of State. So with that process, we developed 3 separate scenarios. Most of those are based on the sort of allocation of population throughout the counties, and there's several redistricting criteria that we have to use when establishing these different scenarios. One of them being no more than a 10% differential, that's plus or minus 5% between any of the districts. They have to adhere to precinct boundaries, which are set by the Sarpy County Election Commissioner. And, where possible, where precincts need to be split, they need to follow some logical or sort of intuitive boundaries. So a river, roadway, something like that. It can't be arbitrary at the parcel level. So with that, we developed those 3 scenarios and worked with the Redistricting Committee. And ultimately, the second scenario is what you find here today, kind of balancing the areas of population growth in Sarpy County while also really trying to be kind of an evolution of the district boundaries from what we've seen in the past. And with that, I'll reserve any other time for questions or comments from the commissioners.
Can we get the map up on the board?
I don't.
Get our IT staff to pull it up. Good point, Mr. Chair.
Oh, do I need to pull it up on here?
It might be on here.
Okay.
Oh, is it? Sorry.
See there, Mike? Nothing to it.
Yeah. I'm glad it's not me.
Screen machine, gotta go.
Well, that's coming up. Does anyone have any questions for Mike or MAPPA's methodology?
So are projections of future growth part of the determination and what the recommendation is?
They are not, no. So with the criteria that are provided by the Secretary of State, we don't account for population growth kind of as one characteristic of that. Although you'll note that some of these are slightly above or below, and that it's kind of a happy accident that the area in kind of West Sarpy County that is likely to experience the most growth over the next 10-year period is slightly below the other ones, but we don't account for population growth kind of as one factor. We really look for those precinct boundaries and trying to assemble those into a reasonable district.
Any other questions? Okay, this is a public hearing. Does anybody want to come forward and address the board or ask questions of MAPPA? Okay, I'll close the public hearing. Take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Klug. Discussion?
Just in way of discussion, thanks for everybody's input on this, but even as Gretna was once 375 people, 10 years ago when I ran for my office, my southern boundary was 66th Street, south of 370, and it came over 370 and then went up 132nd. So I had a very large, that is now filled in with a lot of population. It'll be interesting to see what this looks like in 10 years.
Yeah.
You can bring it to the home and show it to me.
You're probably going to need a deputy commissioner to help you out with all the growth down the line.
So I just want to thank MAPPA, for stepping up and helping us out here. It's nothing any of us really wanted to be involved with, and Commissioner Warren kind of took the lead and marshaled inputs, but you guys did all the work, so thank you to you and your team, Mike, for making that happen. I don't know if it's the lines on a map, but it looks about as good as any other I've seen, so really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay,
Well done, thank you.
please vote.
Yeas 5, nays none, motion carried.
Okay, 5.2 is Resolution 405, which is change order number 1 to an agreement with the L Concrete for concrete panel repair. And this was approved originally through Resolution 274 earlier this year. But there's been some additional costs and some issues with the concrete sinking, I believe, right?
The existing pavement.
Yeah, so it's generated a requirement for a change order. Danny Wilson, County Engineer.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners, and happy Thanksgiving. The process of looking at roads, of course, is always a difficult one, not knowing what's going to fail at what point in time. This was not that bad of an area when we first started looking at the numbers, probably a year ago at this point in time. But what's happened is the roads continue to deteriorate. You'd note on the discussion points here that part of that was some flooding that we had, and then, of course, some frost, heaving, et cetera. We're also seeing a lot more heavy traffic on Platteview. If you drive that road, you can see there's a lot of semi-trailer trucks. We've got core slab driving. And, of course, this year we've got the grain hauling vehicles that are pretty hefty as well. So with that, what we'd like to do is ask you to vote in favor of this change order, which raises the cost from about $426,000 to $516,000, which is still about about $140,000 under what we had originally estimated for it. And I'd be glad to answer any questions.
So the only question I had was, what's going to prevent it from occurring again in the future? I mean, are there some remediation steps that will be taken on this change order that will make sure that it doesn't happen again, or?
Well, in this area for certain, yes. The problem with the Platteview Road is it's just been there for a long time.
Yeah.
And, you've got the foresight of looking to do some improvements on that with the.
So
potential
this
leadership.
area that we're doing with this change order is going to be new area that we hadn't projected in our original?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's in the vicinity of?
63rd Street is where most of that takes place, and then I believe it's a little further to the east on the second portion of
Okay,
it.
48.
Yeah, 48, thank you.
okay. Questions for Danny?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Klug, second by Commissioner Burmeister. Discussion? Please vote.
Go Dragons.
Yeas 5, nays none.
Good exit. Did she announce it? Did you announce the vote?
Yes, I did.
Oh, I didn't.
Ayes 5, nays none.
Okay,
I'll repeat
thanks.
it for
I
you.
missed it. Must have been in that Grow Dragon part. All right, well, the next item, 6.1, executive session, there's no longer a need to do that. So that takes us right up to the best part of the meeting, which is the adjournment. So all agenda items have been addressed, as published, and the Board of Commissioners is adjourned. Thanks for coming.
Hey, Dan.
6 months this time. My wife says that too.
So.